We are just days away from the drop of season 3, but are you prepared? Well, if you're like me, probably not, but that's okay. I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and hopefully it'll help you. My name's Coyote, and let's get to it.
Stupid coyote.
There's a whole manner of different things that you can actually do to get ready for phase 3, and depending upon how sweaty you want to be, you may be able to get all of this list done. It's actually quite possible depending upon how you want to tackle it. These are just some tips. This is no means telling you how you should play your game, but if you do find any value out of this, go ahead and do me a solid and like and subscribe to the channel, or maybe drop a comment down if I miss a tip that you think would be helpful out going into phase 3. Now, this one seems simple. You see a lot of streamers and a lot of guides like this that are telling you, hey, make sure you have 20 quests in your quest log so you can get that boost of experience. But there's probably some that they're also forgetting to mention, like certain dungeon quests. If you're going to be raiding Nomer, which I would highly recommend it, and we're going to talk about that later down the guide, if you haven't done the Nomer quest, you may want to save them until after if you're on a fresh tune, as well as holding off on those reputation quests where you turn in different types of cloth. These also give experience, and if you can just start stockpiling a bunch of cloth now, you can actually just go in and do these turn-ins without them actually taking up a slot in your quest log. I'm actually trying to be a little bit proactive, and I'm actually filling my quest log with the Ultimate quest. Already going to run it with some friends tonight, and then when it comes time to turn them all in, I can actually just run Ultimate and already have that quest experience done. Now, when it comes to selecting quests, you're going to want to focus on as many yellow, red, or orange quests that you can. Now, also focusing on group quests. Earlier in the Season of Discovery, there was a patch given that these quests will give more experience. And since we're going into Season 3, we're going to have that 50% EXP buff. You're going to want to make sure you have some of these completed so you get a nice little chunk of change at the start. Now, it kind of goes without saying, you're going to want to start getting those skills up. If you haven't maxed them out yet, now's the time to do it when mats are probably going to be at their lowest. And don't forget those tertiary professions. I'm talking cooking, fishing, and if you're like me, first aid. Going into Season 3, there's going to be new plans that they've already mentioned added in. And when there's probably going to be some new food items out there. And you don't want to be caught behind because you can't provide for yourself. The price of things are going to skyrocket at the start of the phase. It always happens. And you could actually even make some money if you're just this little bit prepared, which you're going to want to do regardless. But more on that later in the video. If you have no means to farm right now, it would actually be pretty good to go in and buy those different mats that you need to finish leveling up because things are kind of cheaper towards the end. And you may be able to get ahead too if you over farm on certain items and start making some gold off them as well. My big focus right now would be to tell you to focus on some of the tertiaries, especially fishing and cooking. There's going to be a lot of money to be made. And I could even see that going into the Sunken Temple, that there actually being a very good reason to have everybody with max first aid. Being able to cure yourself from different venoms and poisons could be huge going into this fights that we haven't seen released yet. So right now, it's better to totally be prepared by working on these skills over the next few days. There are plenty of guides out there to help you get to max as efficiently or as quickly as possible, so go check them out and start working on it. Some of us in Season 3 wear multiple hats. In my case, I'm going to be moving in as a boomkin and a off-healer for our guild's 20-man raid team. And so, I'm going to need that dual spec money. That is 50 gold at the start of the expansion, and you're going to want to be able to have that. So now's the time to start saving gold. And if you're leveling these professions, especially fishing, it's actually very easy because people also want to level their cooking, and a lot of the fish that you catch can just be sold over. So you can start building your way to making this money. Now, this is kind of a in phase 3 saving gold tip. If you are a balance druid, for example, only buy balance abilities. If you plan on dual specking, buy those dual spec abilities because it's going to be costly. Once you get to 50 and those quests start offering gold, you can go back in and buy those other skills. but just a little friendly tip to remind you. If you're a little strapped for cash right now, I highly recommend just going in and knocking out some of these green quests, or go in and look for some trivial quests back in zones you haven't started. They may not offer a whole lot, but at level 40, you should be able to knock them out relatively easy. If you haven't made it to 40 yet, you may want to put off not getting a mount until 50. Having that gold and being able to buy different skills is going to do you a lot better come raid time, or if you have to go do PvP stuff, than it would be just to be able to be a little bit faster. Things will come if you do try to save some gold. If you thought you were done with the Blood Moon event, hell, it's still here. But it's okay. You can actually get ahead of it right now by just using these last few days to start farming up a bunch of copper, silver, or even gold coins. We know that it's going to still be around, and there are new items to drop. And you don't want to miss out on your best in slot list because you're just putting it off. It's going to be a lot tougher at 50 with new different abilities. So if you've already got a good farm going right now, you might as well just start hitting this up every day while you can. There's just too much to be lost out on with all this free time up until April 1st. Currently, the only thing we know that will be disappearing over time is the honor tokens that you get from the event. So right now, if you have 15, 20 silver already stockpiled, you're probably going to be set going into phase 3, being able just to go and buy your new best in slot item if it's applicable. My final set of tips comes in the form of EXP. First off, if you haven't gotten the sleeping bag, I highly recommend just doing it. There are services where people will teleport you around. I don't think it's worth it. You can just take an hour and go run and do it yourself. I have the video linked above, and if you need any more help than that, ask your guild members. I'm sure they'll be happy to help. You're going to want to use your sleeping bag before you log out for the night if you don't plan on playing into the start of Season 1 when it drops April 1st at 1 p.m. And that way, it has time to be on cooldown. So, at the start of your next playthrough, you're already going to be able to use the sleeping bag again when your buff runs out. This is just a kind of a way to get that 3% EXP buff rolling. I treat the phases like a new expansion for WoW, so I like to log out where I need to start the next day. In this case, our guild plans on doing a quick Nomer run at the start of reset, and that way we can go in and knock it out and get that experience. So I'm probably going to be at the instance logged out, and I may just go work on other tunes in the meantime. And speaking of other tunes, don't forget at the start of phase 3 to log into all your max leveled alts. You want them to start building that rested XP while you're off working over on your main tune. This push together with the experience buff that we're going to be getting from 40 to 50 will really help out and make the leveling process that much easier. And just to kind of get you there faster. That is if you're a sweat lord. If you're not, now I understand, but you know, it's just a friendly tip. These are my tips and suggestions for you going into phase 3, how to prepare over the next 4 days. They're nothing crazy, nothing that's going to break you mentally or scar you personally. And I hope that you find some enjoyment out of this. If you did, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment if there's something that you think, hey, don't forget to do this. Other people will probably see it and could use your help. As always, my name's Coyote. Happy adventures.
Stupid coyote.